Join me in welcoming Mike Stanke and Casey Stiles for a special introduction.
Good afternoon, Michigan FFA members and guests. I have the distinct honor to introduce to you one of my favorite people, my daughter Samantha. Her love for agriculture started early. I cannot begin to count how many hours she rode in the buddy seat next to me doing many jobs on the farm, eventually leading to her driving those tractors and me in the buddy seat from time to time. We would go over to my dad's feed cows, and I loved watching the joy Samantha had to see the new spring calves bouncing around in the pasture. It was only a matter of time before she was raising her own animals, growing her own crops, and being a good voice for agriculture. It just plain became natural to her. Her passion for the FFA organization is very apparent and stronger now than ever. Long before she could be a member, she was selling pork raffle tickets at the county fair with her grandparents at the FFA alumni booth. She was one of the first junior high members that Charlotte ever had, making her third generation of my family to be part of the organization. That in itself is really cool, but Samantha put her own spin on it. Serving as chapter and regional officers, competing in state and national contests. Her list of accomplishments is longer than I'm allowed to stand here and talk, but it's a testament to her love of this organization and the leadership and development it teaches. In the past year when I have talked to her, I've often wondered if she even attended classes here at MSU, because she tells me about the really cool work she's done, the traveling around to the state and meeting many of you, and her excitement for everything that she's doing on behalf of the Michigan FFA. On a side note, I saw her grades, and yes, she did attend class and has an awesome grade point to show for it. Michigan FFA, it is my pleasure to present to you one of the hardest working, passionate, and talented people I know with her retiring address, my daughter, and your 2023-2024 Michigan FFA State Reporter, Samantha Stanke.
Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Stiles, and I am one of Emma Challender's many FFA advisors over the years. Nate, I'm going to need you to find my script for me. Nope, I found it. You'd think I'd know how to do this up here. I've been here before. My name is Casey Stiles again, and I first got to witness Emma's character long before she was in the FFA through my role as a sheep barn superintendent for our county fair. She was young, but she was an avid, confident 4-H showman in the ring. It was very apparent she put in a ton of time and dedication to get to be effortless. And it was equally as apparent that she had a huge desire for those around her in the ring to feel just as confident. Over the years, I witnessed her consistently coaching others, no matter their age or their experience levels in the ring. And when she walked into Corona's ag program as an 8th grader, I was really excited to start working with her on her FFA journey. Emma today is still that incredibly dedicated young woman, putting in the time both out front and behind the scenes, just to make sure everything that she does, everything she signs up for, she puts her best foot forward. She is still seeking ways to help those around her and always meeting them where they're at and pushing them to do their best. When a student's journey starts to morph into how they can pay it forward like that, it's very inspirational to witness, and it was an honor to be one of Emma's FFA advisors and teachers. I've watched her teach and lead others with kindness and enthusiasm, again, since a young age, and this past year as a state office was no different. I know she'll make an incredible ag teacher and FFA advisor someday too, because of all that. And so it is with great pride that I introduce to you a past student of mine and your 2023-2024 Michigan FFA Region 4 State Vice President, Emma Challender, for her retiring address.
Grow big, little seeds. Grow big, little seeds. Grow big, little seeds. Every spring, when we fill our planters, my dad, sister, and I say these words to the seeds before they're sent off to the fields. These 4 words bring my family joy every spring, because as soon as these seeds are planted, it's only a matter of time until change comes their way. Soon, these seeds undergo dramatic change and transform into something else entirely.
The change the plants experience is unavoidable, but predictable. We learn what will happen to the plants in our ag classes. They will germinate, sprout, and then eventually grow. But what happens when you or I experience a dramatic, unpredictable change? How do we adapt and find joy when we are undergoing changes?
Picture this. 6-year-old Emma, short brown hair, little glasses, and she always had a huge smile on her face. She lived in a subdivision in North Las Vegas, Nevada, where she was born. She was terrified to get her hands dirty, but she loved when the ice cream truck would come around and deliver ice cream. Around Memorial Day weekend, my parents took me on a trip to go visit my aunt in Arizona. On our way, we visited so many different attractions, including the Grand Canyon and the London Bridge in Lake Havasu. After looking at the amazing sights of the London Bridge, my parents pulled me aside. They sat me down on a nearby bench, gave each other a nervous glance, and then proceeded to tell me that we were moving. Being 6-year-old Emma, I thought we were just moving to a different house in the same subdivision. But in fact, we were moving all the way across the country to Michigan. Granted, I've been traveling to Michigan ever since I was just a couple months old, so I was pretty fond of Michigan. That's where my parents grew up. It's where my whole family, other than my aunt, lived. But hearing this news, I was heartbroken. I had to leave my friends who felt more like family and my perfect school that had a great environment. Being only 6 years old, I was terrified to move all the way across the country. Las Vegas was the only place that I have ever lived, so I was pretty terrified. I was resistant to this change. A couple weeks later, we started the big move. I had to pack all my belongings into a moving van. And before I knew it, I was saying goodbye to my friends and stepping into a car with my parents and 2 dogs. Sad to leave everything behind. We traveled 2,139 miles on our way to Michigan in 2 days. Finally, when I saw the Welcome to Michigan sign, I knew we were almost to our new home. Michigan is very different from Nevada. But after spending a little time here, I started to settle into this change. I found friends, and I was doing well in school. I was beginning to realize that I was going to like my life here. I got to see my friends in Michigan, but most of all, I got to see my favorite people, my grandparents. Now that I am older, I look back on that change and realize it was for the better. If I didn't adapt to that change, I wouldn't be who I am. I would still be the girl who didn't like to get dirty and was terrified of bugs. I would never have found my love for showing pigs, and I would never have met my friends. I would not be an FFA, and I would not be on this stage. Now, thinking about who I am today, none of this would have been possible if younger Emma did not adapt to this change. Change is unavoidable. Life is full of all kinds of change, from last-second adjustments in our schedules to life-altering transformations. This means that some of these moments are more significant in our lives than others. Going through these changes, either at a young age or an older one, can take a toll on us. Sometimes we don't have any control over these changes, but other times We have full control. And while we might feel better about change when we have some part of it, the most fundamental changes happen when they are out of our grasp. Equipping ourselves for future change means giving up some say of the things that are most nerve-wracking for us. We cannot escape change. But knowing that change is unavoidable, we can pack our toolboxes full of tools that will help us. By using these tools, we have an opportunity to blossom into who we are. The first tool is having a close circle of friends that we can trust. We can talk to these people and bounce ideas off of them, helping ourselves adapt to a change. In fact, research shows that people who talk to others about how they feel are happier, better adjusted, experience fewer health problems, and ultimately live longer. The second tool is having some self-reflection time by ourselves, reflecting on the change that we went through and asking ourselves, how did this pivotal change shape us? How did it influence us? We can reflect on this in many ways, by taking a walk outside, observing others, and stepping away from distractions. These can help us overcome our uneasy feelings and fears and help us cope with the changes that we are experiencing. These are all tools that we can use to reflect on the changes that are occurring in our lives. I have used these tools in a very real way within these past 6 months. After the move, I had a friend named Nick. That was one of the first people I talked to when I arrived in Michigan. Nick was always the person I could go to when I needed to vent. He would listen to my thorough rants and offer comfort through each difficulty. During the month of October, I got the news that Nick was no longer on this earth. And as I began to process his passing, these tools became critical to my reflection. Reflecting on this change, I talked to my parents to help me cope during this difficult time. Using the second tool, by taking a walk alone, I had space to reflect on Nick's life and his passion for helping others. It allowed me to work through this new change and appreciate my friend in a very special way. We are all different, and we go through change in different stages. Going through change has taught me that I need to adapt to change in my own way. So, how can you improve your approach to change in your life?
How many of us enjoy negativity? Seriously, truly thrive off of negativity around you? My guess would be nearly none of us. But regardless, we tolerate and even welcome it into our lives. When we go through middle and high school, we may get bombarded with negativity, feeling like absolutely everyone around us has something negative to say every single day. I know that was definitely true for me when I was in high school. I was in a constant state of anger, feeling like nothing could go right, and I soon, without realizing it, became a negative person myself. Before going into my senior year, my friend Issa and I recognized that something was happening and that something needed to change. So one small thing we changed was what we did. We went to the museum, we went on ice cream dates, any and everything we could think of to have some fun, give ourselves something positive to think about and focus on. And through practice came happy memories and a positive attitude that prepared us for the upcoming year. And it worked. By practicing that positivity, we were able to make our last year of high school the best. After graduating, midway through summer, a familiar feeling lurked back to me. The stress, anxiety, and negativity I had worked so hard to get rid of came rushing back with thoughts of what would college be like? Would I make friends easily? Would I enjoy my classes? Would I be able to keep up with this positivity? Soon came August and move-in day, where all of my anxieties were fulfilled. College was not an easy transition for me, and it reminded me of my old friend anxiety. I didn't room with anyone I knew, and I found it difficult to connect with these new people. My classes were structured differently, and I had to learn new study techniques. And then came the task of finding and making new friends on such a huge campus. A few weeks into the semester came a turning point.
a group project in my math class where I met a new friend, Izzy. I had a choice to make. Would I revert back to my old ways and think negatively about this? I mean, it had been a few weeks. Would I ever find a place to belong? Or I could think positively about this and look at this as my chance to make a new friend. And that's exactly what I did. By holding on to a positive attitude and the little bit of joy I found in a whirlwind of new experiences, I was able to make the best out of a tough situation. Fast forward a few months, and Izzy and I have become great friends and supporters of each other. We talk in person at least once a week to go over the good and bad of our days over a slice of cheesecake in an affirming and uplifting way. The change that I was so worried about going into college transformed into the highlight of my week. Change. Change happens to each of us every day. And for those of us who rarely voluntarily allow change into our day-to-day lives, it can be scary, overwhelming even. One thing I have found to help me overcome change is to search for even the smallest amount of joy in the depths of the stress and anxiety that change can bring. That glimmer of good, the joy in the outcome, the happiness that change can bring is what we need to remember to hold on to when a tough day, a hard time, or a life-altering change crashes down on us. Now, I won't lie to you. Finding the joy in change isn't always easy, and sometimes it may not even happen until the waters of change have settled again. One thing I have found to help me navigate those waters is in my journal. Reflecting on change in the midst of it, or even a week after it, helps me not only navigate my way emotionally through the change, but also navigate my way to the other side. I list out all of the good things to come from changes in my life. I list them out clear as day in writing, so that I can visualize them and come back to it when I need to. Or when I have a tough day, I take a moment and I think about one little thing that went really right. It can be as small as, my coffee was so on point today, or the fries I had with lunch were just the right amount of crunchy and salty. Something small that went really right that I can hold on to and help me turn my day around. I invite you now, take a moment and close your eyes, and think about a day, maybe even last week, where the world just felt absolutely against you. Now that you have your day, think a little bit more about that day, dive a little bit deeper, and think about something that just went really right. Was it a friend complimenting your outfit? Was your lunch just absolutely amazing? Or maybe you came home and your mom found a way to say something that just helped you turn your day around. Now that you have your thing, open your eyes, pull out your phones and type that into your phone's notes app. And keep that note open and available. And the next time you have a tough day, type another small amount of joy into there. Joy can be difficult to find, but joy has the power to turn a day around and impact you and everyone around you.
When change comes along in our lives, we might feel uneasy, but we don't need to. Our toolbox includes a variety of different ways to reflect on these important changes that happen in our lives. Things like journaling, observing others, and stepping away from distractions. These can help us overcome our uneasy feelings about change. These times in our life when we are working through change and the feelings that arise with it are the moments that make us, us.
We all have a choice to make. And with tools like journaling, stepping away from the distraction, and with a little trust and perseverance, we will find our joy over time. For me, it took being honest with myself in my journal and finding one small thing each day to be joyful about. Finding joy, making change, practicing, and then choosing change will help us find our joy over time. And once we adapt to change, we start to settle into a new normal, and the joy sneaks up on us, whether we're looking for it or not.
Michigan FFA, adapt to change.
To find your joy.
Oh my God.
There's something in your eyes says we can beat this, 'cause these things will change. poised, diligent, and genuine. Michigan FFA, our state reporter, Samantha Stanke.
Mindful, compassionate, and sensational. Michigan FFA, our Region 4 State Vice President, Emma Challender.